broadcasting live from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of the Ozark Mountains using only a 9-volt battery and some aluminum foil. It's the Boredroom. Welcome to the Boredroom. This is Joe Batterton.
And I'm Nathan Rogers at WooPigSumo on Twitter.
And this is episode number 3.
Guess what we're going to talk about today? Do you have any ideas?
I'm not really sure if you've got any clues.
Let me give you a hint.
Way up in the north woods and deep in the dark pine that blacken the mountains of the Cascade Range.
I'm not getting it yet.
They still tell the tales of an Indian legend. Sasquatch is the legend. Bigfoot is the name. The Indians claim he's the missing
Okay, I think I got it.
Sasquatch.
We're talking about Sasquatch. The Bigfoot.
This probably won't run as long as we intended it to. We had
I think it will.
A couple of guests lined up, but some Bigfooters or Bigfoot hunters or enthusiasts, I'm not sure what you'd call them. But much like their
elusive
prey, they're pretty
elusive.
They've all disappeared
and I
today.
get it. I mean, I get it. I really do. You get a couple knuckleheads like us that are. I mean, we kind of believe that there's a possibility there could be something out there, but my heart tells me that. I guess my brain tells me it's not true. My heart tells me that it is.
I'm fascinated by the idea, and I really do think there's a possibility, but I'm not 100% convinced. So, I'm not a Bigfooter. I think some of these guys that were supposed to come on today probably thought we were going to make fun of them, or
well, we are not really. I mean, I like to poke fun about anything that we're dealing with. I like to stay lighthearted about it because there's no hardcore facts out there.
No,
that this exists.
Well, we wasn't. Our intentions wasn't to discredit what these folks were going to talk about, but we were going to have a little fun with it and
still are.
Yeah, say, hey, we're skeptical. We want to believe, but we're skeptical. Tell us why you believe or why you think or know there's a Bigfoot out there, and we'll tell you why we think or believe that there's really not. Maybe you can convince us. Maybe we'll just end it on agree to disagree.
Well, and this is not going to be the only time that we discuss this topic. I mean, it's fun. I've got some personal friends, and I think you do too, that have claimed to have had experience, either saw something or heard or felt or smelt or whatever their reason is. They feel like they've had some kind of experience with Sasquatch. So,
and I think after this episode, maybe some of them will listen to this and think, they're not in it to discredit us, and
they may not. They may listen and go, I ain't gotta go on there with those guys. They're gonna tear us apart.
So to put you on the spot, Joe, do you believe there's a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch,
in Arkansas,
skunk ape,
or anywhere? Do I think there's a possibility of an unknown species that has not been documented yet being out there? Yes, I do, because I believe it was it a black or a white rhino, which is a very large animal. Well, that, like 10 or 15 years ago, was discovered for the first time. So I know that there's things that can be out there that. Yeah. But as far as like a hairy ape man, Bigfoot thing, I just don't know if I buy it or not.
Occasionally, they do discover a species that we didn't know was here. Or that, like just in this state alone, a few years ago, there were some duck hunters that got some sort of white woodpecker or.
Oh, the ivory-billed woodpecker. But there again, I think it's related to Bigfoot because the video that they had was blurry, and there's never a clear picture or a video of any of these things. And in defense of that, we had this discussion earlier today. How old are you? How many years have you been on this earth?
30-something.
30-something? You're not going to go 38, I believe it was. In those 30-something years that you've been on Earth, how many black bears have you seen in the wild.
I have seen at least one.
One black bear in 38 years. How many skulls? And you're an avid deer hunter, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how many black bear skulls or bones have you found in the woods?
Zero.
Zero.
And that's the thing. We know there are hundreds, thousands of black bear just in this area alone.
Yes.
Especially, in the summertime or whatever. Not one time have I found a bone, a skull, or anything. But we know they're here.
Yeah. And occasionally you'll see, somebody will see a footprint. I've seen footprints before. I've seen 2 in 15 years, and I live way back in the Booger Woods. And,
assuming there's less Bigfoots, Sasquatches out there than there are bears, I always go back to how do we know they're there? Because we have found actual dinosaur bones all over the world, in America, Egypt, name it, full skeletal remains of dinosaurs, but nothing of a Sasquatch. But then you go back to, I know there's black bear here, and I've never found one of those either. So.
And the same with mountain lions. Same thing.
Oh, yeah.
You have people have sightings. Very rarely does anybody get a picture. There again, I've seen 2 and had a camera with me or a phone that I could take a picture. And by the time I got the phone up, the bear was gone.
Yeah, I've seen, and a lot of people may poke fun of this. I have seen a mountain lion. I had my phone with me, and it didn't register because I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah,
by the time it registered, and I got my phone, it was gone, and I thought nobody's going to believe me. So I did set my game camera out, and I got a picture of a big old black bear a few days later, but no mountain lion.
Well, and there again, there's another thing for the against. I know I've probably got 50 or 60 friends that are deer hunters that bow hunt and hunt the whole season, and they have game cams out all over the place, and never once have any of them ever come across a picture of a Sasquatch.
Right.
Are they the super highly intelligent animal that can sense this electronic device and know which way the camera is pointing? I don't think so. A human being can't get by without that, and I doubt very seriously if this animal, if it exists, would be that much more intelligent than a person.
And you can't drive a mile in this area without seeing a dead animal, a deer, a armadillo, something that's been hit by a car. You would think if they're out there roaming around, I know there's sightings and the crappy video occasionally, but you would think at some point, somewhere, one would be crossing the road and getting nailed by something.
Maybe not. Maybe, and here, what about picking up carrion on the side of the road? Wouldn't you see it pull in, or maybe maybe they have to have a live kill? I don't know.
Yeah, I think to convince everybody, there has to be either one captured or killed.
Well, even like hair,
Yeah.
we don't have. There's never anything DNA wise that anybody ever presents that proves that there's anything like this out there.
Yeah, there's been people that's claimed, and it's always come back to like those monks that had the scalp of something.
Right, it was supposed to be a yeti, and they had it in this monastery, and then finally somebody got some hairs off of it, and it was a yak. I mean, It was, I don't know.
Somebody, I forgot which famous movie star it was back in the 50s or whatever, went somewhere and their wife smuggled, they thought it was a Sasquatch finger. So they smuggled it back to America, and it turned out to be some monk from, just a big monk.
The monkey
Not
finger.
a monkey, a monk.
Monk finger.
But, monkeys, speaking of monkeys, and Gigantopithecus, is that how you say it?
Gigantopithecus.
There actually was, and skeletal remains have been discovered of a Gigantopithecus.
Where at?
China, I think.
So it was it like a Neanderthal, or was it was it human-esque? Was it?
They think it was a large bipedal ape-like creature. They think it's bipedal because of, I guess, the way the jaw is. If you're down on all fours, your jaw bones go a certain way, and if you stand upright, then they go a different way. And anywhere from like 6 feet to 10 feet tall. And this was 100,000 years ago, according to their.
Well, here's another issue I have with Arkansas. We are a very rural state, but you're not going to go very far in this state without running into a house. So we're pretty densely populated, like much of the eastern United States is, And I have a hard time believing that something like that could hide that well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Pacific Northwest or Canada, up in the Rockies, maybe.
Yeah.
Or in a swampy area somewhere where there's just
Boggy Creek.
See, you got in Arkansas, that was the big, the Fawk monster down on Boggy Creek. Missouri back in the 70s had Momo, the monster, up close to St. Louis. Each area kind of has a tradition of some kind of ape man, wild man.
I think a lot of these sightings are actually just black bear.
I was telling you, I've seen 2 black bears probably in the last 10 years. And both of them were driving to or from work. The first one I mistook for a dog. It was running in the ditch line close to my car, and then it ran out in front of me, and I saw that it was a bear after it ran out in front of me. The second one I saw, I was coming home, and I rounded this corner, and I saw this tall, black, hairy, bipedal animal. It was standing on its back feet, and I saw it. And then just as soon as it saw me, it went down on all fours and ran off into the woods. And I could see by its ears and everything it was a black bear.
Yeah, I've seen footage on game camera of black bear standing up on 2 legs. It does look like a human.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I hadn't seen it run off, if I had turned and went the other way, I could have very easily said, I saw a Bigfoot standing on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, when you're out hunting and it's early in the morning, still dark, or late, it's getting late and you haven't left yet, and it's getting dark. You hear things and may see some shadows that can really play with your mind. So, that split second when you see something on 2 legs, a big black, big hairy thing on 2 legs,
My Uncle Mort. he didn't get his back waxed this week, and he was out skinny dipping and was mistaken for a Bigfoot. Here's the thing, too. Somebody was talking about, I was reading this, it was like a Bigfoot sighting blog or something on the internet. I'm not going to say the name of the website. But anyway, they said that they were out camping in the woods, and they made what they've been taught is a Bigfoot call. They made a vocalization, and they heard a vocalization back, and then something started throwing rocks, so they automatically think it's a Bigfoot. I think it was the next door camper who was going, "Hey, shut the hell up! We're trying to get some sleep over here," and threw a couple rocks at him to kind of shut them down. I don't know.
No.
Have you ever had any kind of experience when you're out in the woods that made you think that it could have been something?
Yeah, I've heard half a pound of squirrel that sounded like a herd of elephants coming through.
A squirrel is the only animal that probably weighs less than 2 pounds and can morph itself into something that sounds like 600 pounds out there in the woods.
And then, you'll be hunting and you look over and you see this 200-pound huge buck didn't make a noise. I mean, just gracefully appeared. So is Bigfoot, does he move gracefully through the woods like a big white
Could be. Could he swing from the trees or something?
No, he's too heavy. He'll break the trees down.
You think? I don't know. The only experience I've ever had that was weird, but I pretty well know what it was. I was on this camping trip with some young folks, and I'm messing with their head a little bit. So in the middle of our conversation about Bigfoot and bad people and the boogeyman and just telling kind of ghost story type things around the campfire, I howled out a big whooping, howling kind of Bigfoot-esque call, and so it kind of freaked him out because I didn't warn him I was going to do it. So it was pretty funny. So we're sitting there, and you can hear my voice echoing down the river, and then just probably a minute later, almost the same call comes back to us. Now their eyes got real big around. I played it cool. I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, it was somebody camping down the river from us." Was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it was, because if I heard something like that, I would probably holler back, just being funny. But
we put a poll on our Facebook page earlier in the week. Again, we intended to have Bigfoot experts today, but they vanished on us. But we just asked, do you believe that Bigfoot exists? 47% said yes, 53% said no.
That's kind of half and half. That's
on to the diehard Bigfoot believers. They're the ones that hurt themselves in this, because you got people Well, you have some believers think it's an ape-like humanoid creature. You have some way on the other spectrum that says it could be an alien, and they fight amongst themselves, and it kind of hurts their cause, I guess you could say.
Well, here I'm gonna jump out there and kind of defend what I would call the diehard people, the ones who really think that there might be an animal out there that it just hasn't been discovered yet. A lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of them, I think they try to be scientific in their approach. Some of it gets a little zany, but how can it not be when you're out there looking for something like that?
Yeah.
There's no cut and dried way to go about looking for this.
To their credit, there are species and animals that are still being discovered today. There was a deer in Asia that has fangs. It's like a vampire deer.
I saw that. But I guess what I'm getting at is a lot of these people, I think they try to be scientific about it, and they try to go about it in a methodical manner. But then you've got those people who are just out for adventure and thrill, and they kind of believe and they kind of don't, and they just, I think they get.
You got some.
They add a little silliness to it that they kind of want to be part of the elite group that's really trying hard to figure out if there's something out there, but they don't really want to put the effort in that these people do, and that's the ones I think gives the bad name to.
Yeah, and you got some that want to impress people so bad.
Yeah, they really
claim.
believe,
but they fake an incident, and then they get called out, and it makes the whole shebang look like a bunch of shysters.
I really believe that most of these guys that are out there doing this, that are trying to present stuff and have their websites and their Facebook pages and stuff. I think they really had some kind of experience.
Yeah,
and they really want to share that with people, and a lot of people just want some vindication that I'm not crazy. That somebody else out there's had to have the same kind of experience. So, but it's fun though. I mean, I can remember, like I said, as a kid when that whole Momo the monster thing was happening up in Missouri in the 70s. It scared me to death. Because it was on the news. It's like the internet anymore. If somebody sees some of the newscasts, it's got to be real. As a kid, when you're like 6 and 7 years old, if the news is broadcasting something, that it's got to be out there. So
yeah. I remember when I was little. Of course, the movie Boggy Creek was
You're still little.
Released before I was born, but I can remember.
I remember that movie
people
too.
Watched it, and it was in Arkansas, and there was a Bigfoot on the loose. And hey, I was hook, line, and sinker. I thought there really was one.
It wasn't only a Bigfoot; it was a pissed off Bigfoot. It was like crashing its arm through the windows and trying to pull people through. Yeah.
But back to people faking it. There was a guy in Montana. I just pulled up the story here. Randy Lee Tinley, 44. Put on a ghillie suit, and I guess was crossing the roads, scaring people, trying to get people to believe in Sasquatch sightings. Nailed by a car in one lane, gets thrown into the other one, nailed by the other one. Of course, he's no longer with us.
Oh, he didn't survive.
No, he was struck by vehicles driven by two girls, ages 15 and 17, who were unable to stop in time, authorities said.
Oh.
So don't go
there
faking
you
your Bigfoot sightings, people.
There you go.
Because around here, you'd probably get shot.
Well,
if you're hunting, if I'm hunting, and I see a Bigfoot, what do? Do you shoot it? Because nobody's gonna believe you. That's your chance to prove there's a Bigfoot.
I don't know if I'd shoot it or not. Now, if it was throwing rocks at me like they say they do, he's probably gonna go to his maker.
Part of me wants to shoot it. And then the other, maybe I'll just wing it, and we'll get some DNA from it.
Let me read this to you from the Bigfoot Hunter's Essential Checklist. They make a notation on here. It says, "Note: we highly discourage the harming or killing of a Bigfoot. In order to increase our knowledge of this very rare creature, it is imperative that we capture him alive. Please keep this in mind in your search. Only use weapons in self-defense."
This week, kind of getting prepared for this episode, I signed up, joined different Facebook groups about Bigfoot. And a lot of them say that, don't kill it, it's not what we're about. Well, something's got to give. You either got to kill it, or you got to find it, you got to capture it. I don't know how you're going to if it's real, how you going to capture a 10-foot bionic?
Well, we just saw a video of a guy trying to get a wild hog out of a pen, and the hog, which is way smaller than a supposed size of a Sasquatch, busts out of this pen. I don't think you're going to build a pen around here that's going to keep old Momo
And
locked in.
you know, Game and Fish do have these hog pens out there. So
Yes.
in some pretty remote areas, you'd think maybe a Bigfoot could wander into that, get caught, but not yet.
Are they just too smart, or do they just not exist?
So I think if I was in a position where I had a gun and I see a Bigfoot,
You're awful.
I would probably at least clip it, shoot it in the leg.
You're gonna do the marksman thing.
One, I don't want it attacking me, so I'm going to scare it away. And two, at least have a chance of getting some hair or DNA.
So you're just gonna take a shot at it.
Pop one off. Now, what if it's a baby Bigfoot or a kid Bigfoot?
It's a Bigfoot's a Bigfoot.
Would you shoot a kid Bigfoot?
Yeah, if I was gonna shoot one at all, I mean, I would not discriminate. If you were out and you fell into a pit of snakes, are you gonna shoot a baby snake?
No, those are usually the ones that are most aggressive.
Are you gonna shoot a big snake? Or does that matter?
Snakes are different.
No,
man.
they're not. They're one of God's creatures. If you're gonna kill a baby,
I think if I
Bigfoot,
shot a baby Bigfoot, I would feel really bad if I walked up and
but you would be famous. You would be the
Can
historic
you-
person.
can
I'm
you
going to
imagine
advocate
the
that.
hate.
Oh yeah,
PETA.
not only PETA. You got the Bigfooters. They're all going to come looking for you.
Yeah. So you think you'd be a hero, but really, you
Well,
turn
part
out
of
to
them are
be-
going to be going, yes, finally somebody proved it. And the rest of them are going, I can't believe you killed the Bigfoot.
I would just say it's not a baby Bigfoot; it's a midget
It's a
Bigfoot.
midget.
It's a little Bigfoot. It's
It
a
could
grown.
be. You never know. And we don't know enough about them to know that that's not true.
I don't know what's scarier, a kid Bigfoot or a midget Bigfoot.
Well, I do know this, though. I do have a list here of essential items that you need for a day or night Bigfoot expedition. Would you like to hear
Yes,
those?
let's hear it.
Number one, you need a copy of the Bigfoot Survival Guide. Now, I've never read this myself. I'm sure that it's a very informative guide.
Assuming you can get that online.
I don't know that for a fact, but yeah, I would check there first. Number two, you would need a camera or video that has video or still capabilities, a motion camera with flash, audio recording device, GPS, deer urine. Why deer urine? Why do you think deer urine?
I don't know.
You need a deer.
Maybe to hide your human.
To mask your scent, just like if you were deer hunting. Or maybe to attract, maybe they eat deer. You need a deer call. It says doe on there. Camouflage or dark clothing. You need a flashlight and a cell phone. You need bait food, and it says preferably meat. Rotting equals okay. Bear mace, I guess that's to defend yourself. It says you would need a knife, and in the quotations it says self-defense only. So don't use the knife to play mumbly peg with Bigfoot out there.
If
Don't use it
Bigfoot's
for
coming at me, I don't want to have a knife.
bear mace. But how do they know that bear mace is going to work on a
Well,
Bigfoot?
I was going to wait till you got through your list, and I was going to ask a couple of questions.
Well, let me get through here real quick. You need rope or cord. I'm assuming that's used to bind Bigfoot. You need a flare gun to signal for help because you've just now pissed off a Bigfoot and you've got him tied up with rope that you know he's probably going to break through here in just a minute. You need a lighter, I think, to set Bigfoot on fire. That's to protect yourself only. A rangefinder to know how far back to get from the Bigfoot before you take off running after you set him on fire. A pad of paper for taking notes. I think really a pad of paper would be to write your last will and testament because Bigfoot's probably going to kill you after you've done all these bad things to him. You need tree stands. It says blinds. I'm assuming they're talking about like tents, like a hunting blind. There again, if I'm in an area that is full of suspected Bigfoots, I really don't want to be confined in a small space that he can use as a net to catch me. A stun gun. Get your taser out. The Bigfoot's chasing me. A net gun. Everybody
That's my
has
favorite,
access to
a
a
net
net gun. Yeah, right.
I see that says fishing poles on there, too.
Yeah, night vision goggles and fishing poles.
So you put the rotten meat on a hook and then cast it out into the woods and hope
Yeah,
you
and you
lure
wait
one
for the
in.
line to start tugging.
Yeah.
And as soon as the line starts tugging, you start reeling him in. You better have some pretty heavy tests
Yeah, I was going to say.
and have your
800-pound
net
test.
gun ready. And that is the complete list for a day or night Bigfoot hunting expedition, according to Bigfoot Finder.
You'd pull something up, last time we talked about this, talking about their preferred ways of certain activities.
Yeah,
that,
I got in trouble for that.
and that they don't blink. Is it they don't? No, they blink. Apparently,
They don't sneeze.
They don't sneeze. My question is, how do we know they don't sneeze?
Well, apparently some of these people have a closer connection to him.
Yeah.
They just haven't presented it to the public yet. They haven't outed him yet. He's coming over for supper or something, and
I'm not convinced, guys. I think there's a lot of fancy monkey suits out there that people are wearing and tromping around in the woods. I also think that there's a lot of black bears up on their hind legs that get mistaken for Bigfoot. But
that's honestly, if you want my personal opinion on the whole Bigfoot phenomenon in this area, or within like a 3 or 4 state area of where we live, I would say that 90% of what people are seeing out there that they are mistaking for Sasquatch or Bigfoot would be probably a black bear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong. And I've heard people say, "Oh, I know it wasn't a black bear." Well, I don't buy that.
But
if you don't know for sure that it was a Bigfoot, how do you know for sure it wasn't a black bear?
Mm-hmm. But some things that still lead me to think that there's a possibility. We live on a big planet where there's not been places that's seen a human ever. That's one. Another one, like we mentioned earlier, there are still animals that are being discovered.
Well, I know in this area, there's some places down on the Buffalo River, some of that wilderness area down there. There's people go out there, but there's some areas up in there that I doubt has seen a person in years.
We talked about the heavy population of black bears here earlier. I've never once come across a skeleton. Because, that was one of my main arguments. We found dinosaur bones, but we've never found a Bigfoot bone. But that kind of...
Of course, we didn't have a super volcano erupt and bury a bunch of Bigfoot bones that have preserved it too. So there's a lot of... I mean, look at even like human remains. I mean, how many times has somebody gone missing, and we've never found the remains. Okay, well, what do you think?
Again, I just think that there's a possibility because it's just a big world, and they're still discovering things that haven't been found before. But I think it's going to take a body to convince us.
It's going to take take a body.
Whether it's a dad or a baby or a midget one, something's got to be caught out there.
You're really hung up on this dwarf version of a Bigfoot.
I wonder what the political correct term would be. A little foot.
I don't know. Short squatch or something.
Yeah.
Well, it's that time again. Well, that's going to be about it for our show today. I don't know how informative it was, but you kind of got our opinion of what we think of the world of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and big hairy beast roaming through the woods. So thanks for listening to the Boredroom, and
don't forget to like us and share us and all that good stuff on social media. Sorry we didn't have a guest tonight or today, whatever time it is you're listening, but maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the next show. Thanks for listening.